recess the meeting until the fall of the gavel. We're going to take action with the motion that's before us. We got to make sure that we have a quorum. As a point of personal privilege, I'm going to call on Senator Flake to speak. Normally we would start the vote right now, but as a point of personal privilege, I would call on Senator Flake.
Oh, thank you. I have been speaking with a number of people on the other side. We've had conversations ongoing for a while with regard to making sure that we do due diligence here. And I think it would be proper to delay the floor vote for up to but not more than 1 week in order to let the FBI continue to do an investigation limited in time and scope to the current allegations that are there, and limited in time to no more than 1 week. And I will vote to advance the bill to the floor with that understanding. And I've spoken to a few other members who, on my side of the aisle, that may be supportive as well. But that's my position. I think that that we ought to do what we can to make sure that that we do all due diligence with a nomination this important. And I want to say that this committee has acted properly, and the chairman has bent over backwards to do investigations from this committee and to delay this vote in this committee for a week so that that Ms. Ford, Dr. Ford, could be heard, and she was yesterday. So that's with that.
Testimony yesterday. The day before the testimony, he took the Senate floor and implored Americans to pay attention to both Judge Kavanaugh, also Dr. Ford, and think about the personal pain they were going through, what it was doing to this institution. He spoke again about the institution of the Senate and how this delay with a proper investigation, time limited, could also be good for the institution. He appears also to have been hit hard by protests. I want to show you an encounter he had on the Senate floor earlier today, in the Senate chambers earlier today, when he was trying to actually get to the committee and encountered protesters.
You take responsibility for it, and then you begin to repair it. You're allowing someone who is unwilling to take responsibility for his own actions, unwilling to hold the harm that he has done to one woman, actually 3 women, and repair it. You are allowing someone who is unwilling to take responsibility for his own actions to sit in the higher court of the country and to have the role of repairing the harm that has been done in this country to many people. No, thank you. What do you think? You have power. The truth.
Ma'am, do you want to talk to his staff?
No, I want to talk to him. Don't talk to me. What
Senators Feinstein and Whitehouse now speaking to cameras. This is a very fluid situation right now. We don't know what the White House knows, what they have agreed to. We don't know what Senator McConnell, the Republican leader, knows or what he has agreed to. What we do know right now is that Senator Jeff Flake, Republican of Arizona, retiring Republican of Arizona, has said that he wants to work with Democrats on a plan that Senator Chris Coons, Democrat of Delaware, had put on the table yesterday during the hearings, calling for a time-limited 1-week FBI investigation. That's Senator Patrick Leahy, Democrat of Vermont. Appears he might be saying something to cameras.
Okay, so we have the vote on Monday, and then have the FBI investigation on Tuesday. That wouldn't make much sense.
Senator Klobuchar, can you tell us what just happened? What did you just say?
Well, Senator Coons and Senator Flake have been working together on this for quite a while, and a number of us have been urging them along. But this was kind of a surprise to all of us. Senator Flake has expressed, including in his speech yesterday, his concern about the divide in this country that is being exacerbated by what's happening here. And of course, we have been asking over and over again for follow-ups on the evidence. And so Senator Flake is basically saying to his leadership, I want to see this additional investigation before I vote for this nominee. And if he is joined by 1 or 2 other Republicans in that request, then they wouldn't have the votes unless the investigation occurred. And it's that simple. I don't know. You'll have to ask them.
Is 1 week enough time?
It is 1 week, given 1 week is what Senator Flake was interested in, and you can do a lot if you have the whole FBI looking at things in 1 week.
Did Senator Flake bring this idea to the Democrats? Did the Democrats reach out to him?
You should talk to Senator Flake about that. But I think you've seen him to be quite an independent in terms of a lot of the decisions he makes and what he says, and he just felt that he had a very important role to play here as a member of the committee.
Getting first White House reaction, let's go to Cecilia Vega.
George, the White House press corps, the pool, is with the president right now inside the Oval Office as he is meeting with the president of Chile. And he was just asked about the latest of what is happening on the Hill. He says, I'm just going to read you some notes because this is just coming in. The president said that he is deferring to GOP senators. He spoke fondly about the Ford testimony. And the quote is, of this delay that we just witnessed happen, whatever they think is necessary. So President Trump, in a pretty surprise move, seems to be deferring to the GOP, the Republican senators on the Judiciary Committee, if in fact they agree to delay this vote for a week and allow for this FBI investigation.
Excuse me, Lindsey Graham's coming out. Let's hear if he's going to explain it
here. Dispute, at least a few of them. I don't expect any of them to vote for the guy, but if we ask the FBI to look at what's in front of us no later than a week, no longer than a week, and they would say that would be a better process. That would be progress, and Jeff's trying his best to, bring the country together and vote the best way he knows how. So I don't know if that's the agreement. I'll get back with you, And
do you expect Senator McConnell to honor this?
I don't know. That's why I'm going to go talk to him right now.
Well, and that is the big question on the table right now. You just heard Senator Lindsey Graham say he's going to go consult with Senator Mitch McConnell. Let me bring in Mary Bruce, our congressional correspondent, as well. You know, Mary, there have been so many twists here, and this is a real surprise. And we don't know yet what Mitch McConnell is going to do. What we do know, basically, is that Senator Flake is basically daring him. If you go forward, I'm going to vote no, maybe bring it down. If you give me the week, we could have some progress.
George, this is really an astounding play by Senator Flake. He's essentially daring Mitch McConnell. The leader, of course, controls the floor, but the leader could essentially ignore his request and attempt to move ahead with this vote soon, as we know he is eager to do. But look, if other Republicans stand with Jeff Flake, McConnell simply may not have the votes to get Kavanaugh confirmed without him. And we were just talking with Lindsey Graham, who has been a staunch supporter of Kavanaugh's nomination, and he says, look, he's still trying to digest this. He doesn't know what Mitch McConnell is going to do next. But when asked if he would support this move, he laughed and chuckled and said, well, look, I just know you need 50 votes. And so the question is, if this is what it's going to take, is Mitch McConnell willing to give them this week?
And the man in the middle here may also be not only Jeff Flake, Mary Bruce, but Chris Coons, the Democrat who first put this idea on the table, the 7-day FBI investigation on the table yesterday when he was questioning Judge Kavanaugh. And we've just heard from our off-air reporter on the Hill, Trish Turner, saying that Coons insisted that Flake only moved after having conversations and reassurances from other Republican senators that could mean Senators Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski.
Exactly, and those are the two other Republican votes that we are watching so carefully here, because essentially the only way that this play works is if Flake does have the support of those other swing Republican votes. And Chris Coons, of course, was so central to all of this. It was fascinating to watch the body language playing out in this meeting this morning, because we saw Jeff Flake decline to take the opportunity to speak in this meeting, then go over and motion to Chris Coons, the two of them then speaking for quite some time in an ante-room off the side of this meeting where no one was able to see them. But Chris Coons was the one who first floated this idea. And I have to say, I was speaking with him earlier away from cameras this morning as he was walking in, right when the news broke about Flake's decision to support Kavanaugh. And Coons looked pained. He was visibly emotional, said he couldn't even comment. He also is someone who's not known for playing a lot of politics. Coons is someone who's known for reaching across the aisle. And this morning when I was talking to him, he was bemoaning what this fight has done to the Senate, what it has done to this committee. George, he told me it's like a game of baseball, where at the end of the game right now, it's gotten so nasty that neither team wanted to shake the other team's hands.
And he
Clearly,
does
they've not
say
come up
that,
with some solution for that.
Yeah, he does say that Flake approached him. They had had numerous discussions in recent days. We're seeing Senator Richard Blumenthal, now Democrat of Connecticut, approach the mics. Let's listen in.
I'm not going into all of the conversations taking place, but the general appeal, publicly and privately, is we need to know the facts. This decision is too important to rush to judgment without an FBI investigation. And Senator Flake has made very clear, and I appreciate it, that he wants to know more. And he believes this delay is the responsible step to take. All of that said, let me be very blunt. Before we ended, I was about to be recognized to make this point and motion that this FBI investigation has to be real and penetrating so that the truth and facts and evidence are all uncovered. This FBI investigation cannot be a show or a charade. It must be real, and it must go to the witnesses who are likely to produce facts and evidence.
Senator, your understanding, Flake had the...
That was Senator Richard Blumenthal right there, Democrat of Connecticut. As we said, this fluid, dramatic situation now on Capitol Hill. Senator Jeff Flake, who had already said he wanted to vote for Judge Brett Kavanaugh in the Senate Judiciary Committee, now appears to have conditioned his final vote on the idea that there should be some sort of time limit, perhaps 1 week FBI investigation into the allegations made against Judge Kavanaugh. Of course, that had been an idea floated by Democrats in the day before. This is something that he was negotiating with Democrat Chris Coons of Delaware and talking in discussions with other Democrats. It's unclear how much agreement, how much buy-in he has from other Republican leaders, although as Cecilia Vega just reported from the White House, and we're waiting for the tape of what the president said exactly. The president seems to be deferring to Republican leaders for whatever it will take to get Judge Kavanaugh through, and if it takes a delay of a week, then he is willing to accept that. I want to bring in Terry Moran as well. And Terry, one of the things I think we're seeing here is a reaction to the toxic situation that was revealed in that Senate hearing room yesterday.
Absolutely, George. The emotions, the pain, and this cultural moment, this cultural wave that this whole incident has touched off around the country. I think in particular, there were problems for Judge Brett Kavanaugh becoming Justice Brett Kavanaugh. Already, Elijah Cummings, Democratic representative who had become the chairman of the House Oversight Committee, said he'd subpoena Mark Judge if the Democrats took over. So that is no question a problem for Brett Kavanaugh if he were to go forward. He could face an impeachment if these allegations were in any way substantiated by Democrats with subpoena power. And one more thing, all this is obviously in part because one woman stepped forward, the survivor who began confronting Jeff Flake, followed by other survivors, one person making a difference. He was clearly in agony, probably helped change his mind. Julie? And
credible testimony. Even the chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee yesterday, Charles Grassley, said she was brave, Dr. Ford, for coming forward. But, of course, right now, Judge Kavanaugh has the votes in the committee 11-10, but there appears to be some support now for a delay. There is President Trump speaking earlier. We're going to listen in on how he took the questions.
Mr. President, any comment on the request for a delay from Senator Flake? He wants a one-week delay so the FBI can investigate further.
Well, I'm going to let the Senate handle that. They'll make their decisions, and they've done a good job. Very professional. I'm just hearing a little bit about it because I've been with the president of Chile, and we're talking about some very important subjects. But I'm sure it will all be very good. I guess the vote was a positive vote, but there seems to be a delay. I'll learn more about it as the day goes on. I just heard about it because we were together.
And what did you think of Dr. Ford's testimony when you heard that?
I thought her testimony was very compelling, and she looks like a very fine woman to me. Very fine woman. And I thought that Brett's testimony, likewise, was really something that I haven't seen before. It was incredible. It was an incredible moment, I think, in the history of our country. But certainly she was a very credible witness. She was very good in many respects. And I think that I don't know if this is going to continue onward or are we going to get a vote. But again, I'm here, so I'm not out there watching because I can't be, out of great respect, although maybe we'll go watch together, okay? We'll watch together. But I think it will work out very well for the country. I just want it to work out well for the country. If that happens, I'm happy.
Have you thought at all about a replacement for Judge Kavanaugh?
Not even a little bit. Not even a little bit.
What's your message to Murkowski and his colleagues before that?
I have no message. I mean, they have to do what they think is right. There's no message whatsoever. They have to do what they think is right. They have to be comfortable with themselves, and I'm sure that's what they are.
Would you be willing to reopen the background investigation into Kavanaugh?
I'm going to rely on all of the people, including Senator Grassley, who's doing a very good job. That'll be a decision that they're going to make, and I suspect they'll be making some decision soon, whether to take a vote or to do whatever else they want to do. I will be totally reliant on what Senator Grassley and the group decides to do. Okay? We're going to talk about Venezuela. Absolutely. I was waiting for that question. We will be discussing Venezuela, among many other things. A lot of interesting things going on.
So there you have it right there. Measured President Trump calling Dr. Ford's testimony compelling and credible, also standing by his nominee, Judge Brett Kavanaugh, saying he hasn't thought at all about pulling him back, but saying, crucially, that he's going to defer to Senate leaders on this idea coming from Senator Jeff Flake that the floor vote on Judge Kavanaugh should be delayed for about a week so that an FBI investigation can be conducted into the allegations against him. A dramatic move on Capitol Hill. We'll have much more tonight on World News Tonight with David Muir. I'm George Stephanopoulos in New York. Have a good day.
This has been a special report from ABC News.